So we'll get that in a moment, too.
Yeah, there's good news and then there's bad news. So it just depends on which one you want to hear first. We want to stick on the note of positivity. And right now, there's really not any sort of bad news necessarily because there's still a lot of time. But here's what I'm talking about. Good news is that we already are seeing some winds gusting up to 20 miles per hour, making it nice and comfortable when you walk outside, or at least more comfortable than we have been. A little more dry air in the atmosphere, too, does not hurt. So it does feel a little bit better. And we're not seeing as many areas of patchy fog, thank goodness, this morning as we did yesterday and the days prior. So visit TampaBay.com. Sky camera showing us temperature right now at 73. Dew point still not exactly where we would like it to be for this time of year, 69. So that still is going to be a little more muggy than we'd like to see it. But hey, at least we are dealing with some nice conditions overall, right? So we're clear and dry for now. However, as we look at tropical satellites, radars, things like that, radar here locally looking very quiet. But we got to talk about this. We have Invest 99L, meaning that we have a low pressure system. No center of circulation has formed. No tropical system is out there quite yet. However, heading into the next, 12 to 24, even 48 hours, we could have Sarah, a tropical storm, or potentially a hurricane. This is going to be pretty quick. Heading into the next 12 hours, we got to really watch this even into the weekend. We could see a very strong hurricane forming and brewing down here in the Caribbean. So with Invest 99L, or what could become Sarah, a system could form really soon, right? That's the key takeaway here. Now, what does it do after it forms? Well, it's going to meander out there in the Gulf of Mexico, or excuse me, meander out in the Caribbean, right? And that's why we have that 90% chance for development, because the Caribbean is so warm. So it's going to meander out here, sit throughout the weekend, and try to get better organized. Then it starts to next week. I'm talking next Tuesday, next Wednesday. That is when we start to see the system moving on up. It moves and pushes into either the Yucatan Peninsula, and depending upon how much it interacts with the peninsula, right, that land interaction could weaken it big time, and that would be a good thing. So it depends on how much land interaction this system gets as it moves and tries to push into the Gulf. It's going to move to the northwest and then eventually to the northeast, pushing into the state of Florida, potentially heading into next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. We could see a system impact us. Now, depending upon how much it interacts with that land, that could weaken it. So it really matters right now watching the models to see how long it spends over land. So depending upon how weak we could get this, whether it's a tropical storm or a hurricane that pushes out to the Gulf and eventually makes its way to the state of Florida, that's going to be a big if. And that's the big question right now, is what happens? Does it move over land? And on top of it, what happens with this high pressure, right? So we see the system forming and developing into the next day or so. And then besides the land interaction with the Yucatan, it also matters what this high pressure is going to do. The high pressure blocks this system from our area all throughout the weekend. We got a beautiful weekend actually coming up, believe it or not. And we continue to see that we're protected from this system up until about Tuesday. And then heading into Wednesday, November 20th, my birthday, I'm telling you guys right now, making the birthday wish that this system is weak and it does not impact us. It could be pulled right on up into this area of low pressure. This front that's going to come through could pull it up, and that could mean potentially that we would see something weaker, or if it stays to our south, that would be a good thing. Then we wouldn't even see surge. So we're gonna have to see how strong the system is. Really a lot of moving pieces still at play. So things are up in the air. Please continue to check back in with me, Bobby, and the rest of the team heading into the weekend as well. There's gonna be big changes coming up, folks, but focusing in on the positive, we see a ton of dry air thanks to our next cold front heading into this weekend. So listen to me carefully. Today, feeling a little bit better. This weekend, amazing. It feels like November. Enjoy it. And then next Tuesday is when we could be impacted by a tropical system.